Hello， 大家好，我是立恩。今天带大家来开一个眼界。大家有没有想过哈？我们一直讲这个欧美国家所谓的 LGBTQ 团体呢，已经把性平文化推进到国小学校当中。那到底他们是怎么上课的，以及他们在学校是如何教导孩子，你可以只按照你自己的性别认同去决定你的性别的？我们今天要来看的是 CBN News 呢，这是加拿大的一个电视台哈，有一段专门的影片，主要是针对在2016年的时候，加拿大卑诗省，也就是 British Columbia 的教育部门就已经在实施这个叫做 SOGI 123好 SOGI 123好的这样的一个教育政策。所谓的 SOGI 就是 Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity， 意思就是说呢，透过这一套教育课程呢，来帮助孩子呢更能够包容并且尊重每个人不同的性别。简单讲白了，就是说性别啊，再也不是你啊出生的时候医生帮你决定了啊。我们过去都常讲，你一出生的时候，医生啊会按照你的外生殖器就可以很轻易的判断，对吗？那如果说是外生殖器非常非常隐晦不明显的人呢，至少还可以用这个染色体检查来确认你的生理性别是男还是女。
哦，我看到了，哇，好精致哦！
那现在呢，加拿大早就告诉你说，这些都已经是过去式了。出生的时候呢，都不用急着去管你的性别是什么，因为你可以在学校受到这一套 SOGI 123的教育呢，来慢慢的了解你想成为什么性别。我们今天就是要深入的来看，这样的课纲一旦延到亚洲国家，会变成是一个什么样的教育？我们一起来看这一段有意义的影片吧。Let's go。
A family can be made up in many different ways.
It's called SOGI, for Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification, a curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle and that gender is fluid. In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls. There are people whose gender might be a little bit of both or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses. The SOGI curriculum started in British Columbia in 2016 and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
I just thought, who decided that this was okay to teach our children?
Author and inspirational speaker Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson is a leading voice against the SOGI curriculum.
And we are seeing the results of that now because some kids are reacting very emotionally and saying, and they're in fear. Will I suddenly struggle with feeling like a different gender inside of my body?
Carrie Simpson of Culture Guard, another leading opponent, calls the curriculum nothing short of child abuse.
All those beautiful qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women are being basically vilified. The things that make our boys boys are being, taken from them. So things of equating young men to being strong protectors is something that's now evil.
But Morgan Auger, a transsexual and supporter, claims it's about acceptance, not indoctrination.
The idea is to teach kids that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans parents and gay parents in our society, and everybody's wanted and desired. After all, that's what our Human Rights Code says, and it's the role of schools to teach the following of our laws, right?
Simpson disagrees, saying she sees SOGI's real goal as
altering our culture from a heteronormative society into one where anything goes, no boundaries, no values, no morals. It's a hedonistic cult, basically, what they're implying.
Another blaring example, drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America, where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dressed like horned demons, to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish this. And parents are waking up and saying no.
When asked about parents' rights, Auger says,
Well, actually, in Canada, parents' rights are limited and children's rights are put ahead. So the child has the right to be protected from the parents when the parents behave badly.
This is very scary stuff. And the little girl came home in tears because the teacher had told her, since she was playing with some toys in the class that were deemed to be masculine in nature, that she was likely a boy in a girl's body. The mother went to the school the very next day, and instead of having any sort of tolerance or support or understanding, she was actually called names. She was told that she was a homophobe, that she was a bigot.
I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe that your child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat.
Lindsey Graham, the cat lady herself and host of the Patriot Barbie podcast, joins me now. So, Lindsey, what was actually happening at this school district that made you have to dress up as a cat to prove your point?
Well, first of all, Jesse, I'd like you to not misspecies me. I'd like to be addressed as a cat for the entirety of this video, of course.
Of course.
So
I apologize.
This was in my... Thank you. Just inclusivity is all I ask, you know. This was a local school in my neighborhood where there was a member of the school board whose name is Paul Bixler. He is a man. He's very clearly a man. And the only thing he does to identify as a female is put lipstick on. He grew his hair out a little bit, and he wears his deceased wife's clothing to school, to sporting events, to fundraisers, to school events in front of the children. And believe it or not, he actually demands on being identified one of two ways, either Paul, which is a man's name, of course, or Miss Bixler. So it's very clear that he has a gender identity crisis. And not only does he appear in front of the children and insist that the children, you know, define him as a woman, but he sits on the board and he's making decisions for these children. And the point that I was trying to make as a cat was that, I mean, obviously, you can't just identify as whatever you want. And you can't demand that other people identify you as whatever you want. But someone with this kind of mental illness can enjoy that mental illness all they want in the comfort of their own home. But when you put them in charge of children, we're talking about a new type of indoctrination. And that's what's really terrifying, is seeing these people in charge of our kids' education.
Yeah, if he has to grieve over his dead wife, he can grieve privately, but wearing his deceased wife's dress and putting on lipstick and growing your hair out and insisting you're a woman in front of, what grade is this precisely?
This is elementary school. So these are young, vulnerable minds. And the teachers, the rest of the school board are identifying him as mixed while he's talking in just the deepest manly voice that he was born with. And so to see these parents and these adults take no responsibility for the education of these kids and to teach them true right and wrong and true biology and true facts and science and truths is just so alarming that we have this in the school system.
Real quick, when you did this at this hearing, did people understand? How did they react?
This is a great story, actually. The next day at the gym, I saw one of the members of the school board, and he looked at me a little odd. I said, "I'm sure you don't want to remember who I am." And he said, "The cat." And I thought he would proceed to chew me out. And he said, "You know what? Thank you so much for getting up there and saying what you said. Thank you for being bold enough to speak truth. I've been fighting this agenda. I've been fighting this teacher and this school board member. There are people on our side, and all it takes is just a few of us to stand up and speak truth and find those partners in crime, if you will, and then we really can unite together and fight back against this and save our children."
What kind of exercises does a cat do at the gym?
Oh, you know, gosh, there's got to be something zingy I can say here. Lots of squats, litter box press.
最早的时候，卑诗省他们一推广呢，我认为非常大的政治策略哈，就迅速的蔓延到加拿大全国各省的公立学校。 那这个背后呢，是由一个 ARC 基金会所发行的一套教育。这个 ARC 基金会呢，只不过2008年成立，一到2016年才短短8年时间，就能够从卑诗省的教育部能采纳哈。那很多的家长从一开始的时候是纷纷的激烈抗议表示反对，但是加拿大的教育部门采取的态度更为强硬，也就是如果你家长反对呢，那么学校就会采取强制手段来告诉家长你是性别歧视者或者是性别仇恨者这样的标签，甚至有很多的家长也因此而被判刑，只因为他们在学校外去抗议这个所谓的课纲。
太残暴了！
其实加拿大早就是一个非常极左的国家，而且我们之前也有介绍过说，加拿大其实它比美国还要更早就已经往左派去靠拢了。因为加拿大的自由党目前的现任总理杜鲁多呢，他本身就是一个非常极左的一个人士。那我们曾经过去也介绍过说，左派背后基本上想走的是社会主义。那社会主义的光谱如果更往左的时候，其实就是所谓的共产主义。这也是无怪乎为什么 Jordan Peterson 乔老爷子呢，他在最近的2024年的12月的时候，就已经决定从此离开这个没有言论自由的加拿大，而搬到了美国他女儿所在的地方一起居住了。我们来看一段 Charlie Kirk 的影片，你就会有趣的发现，Charlie Kirk 从美国人的角度来看呢，他认为美国比加拿大还自由得多，而且呢，他已经不避讳的直接称呼加拿大为共产主义国家了。
I came all the way down from Canada, just
a refugee from a communist country. Give it up for him, everybody. How bad is it in Canada?
High gas, high home prices.
Do you have freedom of speech?
No. To a certain extent, the media is controlled. So
CBC, right?
Yeah.
Canadian Broadcast Corporation,
yeah,
which people say is even worse than CNN here, which is amazing.
Yeah.
God bless you. We need everyone to hear the warnings from unfree countries that we can remain a free country. God bless you, man. God bless Canada. Thank you.
OK， 好，那今天就是以上的影片，希望这个影片能够帮助我们来思想，就是觉醒文化的推动，包含所谓的性平教育。你越剥夺了家长、父母的权利去教育自己的孩子的时候，其实这个本质上就是一个社会主义了。只有在社会主义或者说共产主义的模式底下呢，父母的权利才会越来越小，家庭的功能也才会越来越少，一切都变成的是以国家政府为唯一的依归，这个其实是非常可怕的。让我们好好的来一起珍惜台湾目前既有的民主价值，也让我们真的重新来思想，我们现在的政府所推动的东西，它有没有往社会主义的路线去迈进，这个才是我关心的。OK， 我们这边是超级神队友，我们就下部影片再见啦，拜拜。
Cornerstone is Christ alone.